So 20% of men don't make it to 65. Heart disease, cancer, suicide. But the ones that do, the ones that make it past 50, 60, maybe even into their 70s and beyond, they have something the younger guys don't. And it's not money, it's not luck, it's not even health, although that matters. It's wisdom, hard won, battle tested, earned through decades of wisdom. And for the first time in history, that wisdom is worth something beyond your resume. You're a guy in your 50s, 60s, or beyond. You spent decades building, solving problems, leading teams, running businesses, mastering your craft. What I'm about to share with you matters because here's what nobody's telling you. You're not past your prime. You're at your prime. The wisdom you've accumulated, the patterns that you can see that younger people can't, the judgment that only comes from living through the hard stuff, that's crystallized intelligence. And it's the most valuable asset you have. But here's the problem. Most guys our age don't see it. We think the best years are behind us. We think the world has moved on. We think we're supposed to fade quietly into retirement. And that's a bunch of BS. This show is about three things. One, why right now, 2025 going into 2026, is the best time in history for guys like us to leverage what we know. Two, how to turn decades of experience into meaningful contribution and real income. Three, how to stay healthy, engaged, and connected while you do it. Not theory, not inspiration, not some guru, the practical stuff that actually works. So if you're wondering what's next, if you're feeling like there's more to do, but you're not quite sure what, if you're tired of being told you're too old or it's implied that you're too old when you know you're really just getting started, you're in the right place. Let's go. Welcome to Graybeard Radio, where wisdom meets impact and income and fakery is reviled. I'm your host, Matt Hempel, bringing you conversations for men 50 plus who prioritize health, relevance, and connection, all while leveraging the best in tools and technology. Ladies, welcome. No beard required. So whether you earned your stripes in work boots or wingtips, this is really peer-to-peer, just you and I having a conversation. No hype, just the playbook I wish I had maybe 3 years ago. By the end of the episode here, you'll discover and you'll know why this moment is different and how we're going to use it. So let me define something right up front. You're going to hear me say crystallized intelligence a few times. Here's what that means in plain English. Crystallized intelligence is the judgment and the pattern recognition you earn by doing the work for decades and decades, 2 and 3 decades sometimes. It's your wisdom, and it peaks now. Not when you were 25, not when you were 35, not when you were even 40, now. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you and share with you 3 things. First, the problem we're solving, why late career can feel like a fade, and why that really can mess with your head. Second, my origin story, how I went from getting fired from my own company to building what we're calling here Graybeard Radio and all of the things associated with that. And third, the path forward, the convergence that makes this moment different from any other time in our lives. And here's where it really gets interesting. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about really using the brain you already have in a world that finally knows how to capture it. So let's start with the problem. Late career can feel like a fade. We all know it. Fewer calls, fewer invites. You're still sharp, you're still capable, but that quiet kind of messes with your head. And here's the thing, you're not imagining it. Let me give you some data that really grabbed me by the collar. 20% of men don't make it to 65. That's right, 1 in 5. Heart disease, cancer, suicide. The numbers are stark. But here's what really got me. Social isolation increases mortality risk by 29%, according to the World Health Organization. 29%. The lone wolf thing, it costs. And the loneliness epidemic for men over 50, it's real. We don't just talk about it. So here's the trap we can fall into sometimes. Comfort leads to fade, fade leads to isolation, isolation hits health, purpose, and connection. That's the spiral. And let's be honest about where the culture is and where we are in it right now. We live in a youth obsessed market. Decades of mastery get ignored. Younger experts are getting the mic. It's disorienting. And apparently, the algorithm thinks wisdom has an expiration date. My knees agree, by the way. My judgment does not, though. I felt that fade, and I'll tell you exactly how it hit me in just a minute. But first, if you felt this too, if you've sensed this, maybe it's not even a feeling that is explicit, but it's just a sense, a gut feeling that you had. You're not broken. You're actually in a transition. And the research says your timing is better than you think. The twist is the research doesn't say you're done. It says you're entering your prime for really what matters at this point. And let me show you what I mean. So 3.5 years ago, I got fired from my own company. That's right, terminated from my own company. We were doing specialty software and services. I was in my late 50s, and I got to be honest with you, that one stung. So I'm back to the marketplace, and I put in resumes, and I talked to software firms and some government contractors and just some other established entities were out there. I was thinking about going into the full-time employment market again. And what I encountered was ageism. I don't know. I mean, it was mostly polite, very masked and muted, but it was there without a doubt. I started asking myself a question during this whole process. Do I really want to jump back in on the same treadmill I've been on for 25 or 30 years? The honest answer that I ultimately came up with was no. I didn't want different for different's sake. I wanted my own terms, my rules, work that honors the decades I've already lived. So I went back to something I love, flying. I signed on to be a pilot with a private charter company flying business jets. And I'll tell you what, it just lit me up again. So that one move taught me a couple things. One is the upheaval was a blessing in disguise, truly. Two, my wisdom travels with me. It's portable and it's an asset. Right around the same time, I had a health scare. That might be a little bit too strong of a term. It was a wake-up call. So let's say it was really nothing catastrophic, but enough to really make me get serious about what I eat, how I move, how I sleep. So I really went hunting for some answers, and it was scattered everywhere. Articles, podcasts, influencers, research papers, advertisements. We're bombarded with this stuff on a daily basis, but it might have been useful to some degree, but it was exhausting. And I remember thinking, why isn't there one place for men like us, men in our 50s and 60s, professionals, either blue collar or white collar professionals, or recent early retirees, or people late in their career, for us to get straight talk and real science and practical steps around this stuff? At the same time, purpose got louder. Contribution mattered more. I didn't want to really fade out. I wanted to pass something on. And connection, this may be typical of a lot of guys our age. I spent years as sort of the lone rider, producing, providing, keeping my head down, keeping my nose to the grindstone, but not always connecting with other people in a way that was meaningful and important. And that caught up with me. I really missed the brotherhood. That's when an idea hit. Build the thing I wish I had. A place where our age cohort can plug in with health items and topics that are practical, with purpose, through sharing wisdom and real connection. That's Graybeard. And I started digging into the research, and it really matched what I was sensing. Harvard's 80-year study says relationships at 50 predict health at 80. So connection isn't just nice to have. It's a health strategy, purpose in life. The research shows some 44 studies at this point that I've been able to identify ties purpose to better outcomes across the board. The WHO's isolation on data, it matched how I sensed and how I felt when the phone got quiet. So apparently, toughing it out alone is not a longevity protocol. I mean, who knew? But there's one more piece I couldn't ignore, the convergence that makes this moment different from any other time in our lives. The real unlock wasn't just the research, it was a three-way convergence that really hit me all at once. Let me break it down. So, there are three forces converging right now, and together they create an opportunity we've never had before. First, demographics. There's a wave of us, seasoned pros in the fourth quarter, sitting on decades of hard won wisdom, massive supplies of crystallized intelligence. We're not a niche, we're a generation, maybe a cohort that's a movement or a force of nature. I don't know. That's the way I look at it. Secondly, technology is finally ready. So the tools used to be a maze: websites, funnels, emails, payment, delivery. If you wanted to kind of set out on your own or put anything together where you were really going to try to package and offer to the marketplace what you knew and what you've developed in crystallized intelligence over the past 20 or 30 years, it was a full-time job just to manage the tech. I mean, let's be honest. Now, integrated platforms and things like AI and voice AI agents, they're out there and available to the heavy lifting, and they're phenomenally capable at this point. And they're only getting better. Translation, the tech finally gets out of your way so your wisdom can do the work. Third, cognitive advantage. MIT studied 50,000 people. Certain abilities, vocabulary, comprehension, and general knowledge, those peak in our 40s and 50s. The Seattle longitudinal study tracked thousands since 1956. Since 1956, since before I was born. Middle-aged adults perform better on 4 of 6 cognitive tasks. And here's the one that really hit home for me, because I talk to these guys and gals all the time, almost on a daily basis. The air traffic controller study. Older controllers were slower on simple tasks, but identical on complex job critical ones. We trade speed for accuracy and judgment. In a world drowning in information at this point, judgment is the scarce resource, and that's our lane. Flying charter has reminded me where the stakes are high, calm judgment beats raw speed. That's crystallized intelligence in a cockpit or a boardroom or a job site. Convergence equals demographics plus technology plus crystallized intelligence. I know that's a mouthful, but that's why this moment matters. And here's the kicker. One can really boost your health, your purpose, and your relationships all at the same time. Let me show you what that looks like. So at Graybeard, we focus on 3 pillars, and they're not separate. They really kind of reinforce each other. Pillar 1, health and longevity. So engagement really is medicine. Purpose, mental stimulation, and social connection protect your brain and your body. So a micro action you might think about for this week. Pick one health lever: sleep, daily walk, or basic blood work. Keep it simple. Get a few early wins. And if you're already doing this stuff, fantastic. I encourage you to drop me a note and tell me about where you are in your journey and your journey to getting healthier and health and longevity. Matt at graybeardguidance.com. Matt at graybeardguidance.com. Pillar 2, purpose and meaningful connection. You've got a generativity drive. That's a big word too. The need to matter. Your wisdom has impact and economic value. So a micro action you might think about: start a wisdom inventory, or call it whatever you want, a grocery list. List 10 repeat problems you've solved over the years. Circle the top 3 that people ask you about on a regular basis or have asked you about in the past. Pillar 3, relationships and social connection. So mentoring creates bonds. It's deeper than networking. It really builds legacy while it builds connection and friendship. So micro action you might think about doing this week. Text one younger guy that you can help this month. Say, hey, if you're stuck on X, I've seen it before. Happy to walk it through with you. Just reply back. We're going to be talking more about our connection and our role really in younger men's lives coming up in episode 4 and episode 5. So make sure you subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe right now, if you would, please. And also, if you want to get on the list to receive updates about what's coming next and all of the latest information around Graybeard and the Graybeard Project, please go to graybeardradio.com and you can get on the list there. I'd love to have you. To mean the world to me if you do that. So back to this concept of Pillar 3. So it's teaching, it's mentoring, it's documenting, and it's a single activity that hits all 3 pillars. Really not in theory, but in practice. This is all about practicality here. So here's what this podcast will deliver. You're going to hear experts you can actually use, maybe some doctors and medical professionals, some holistic people, some coaches, some mental health pros. You'll hear ordinary, extraordinary stories from men just like us, just like you and me, from the boardroom to the job site, to individual business owners, and it's going to be real talk. There's not going to be a whole lot of polished. I mean, you can probably already tell by the way I'm communicating with you right here. It's all going to be pretty straightforward. And I'll give you some practical frameworks for getting your wisdom out of your head and into the world without becoming a content guy or an influencer or some other artificial kind of fake thing. So here's what comes next. Episode 2, the 3 things that really matter now. We've touched on them here a little bit. That's health, purpose, and connection. It's all backed by data, but explained in plain English. Episode 3, the brain you didn't know you had. Your crystallized intelligence advantage and how to use it. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, Matt, I get it, but what exactly is my wisdom? What do I actually know that I don't know that's valuable? Or what do I don't know that I know that's valuable? And how would I even show up in the world or the marketplace if I wanted to make a change in that direction? So I'm glad you asked. I built something specifically for that. It's called the Wisdom Extraction and Blueprint Guide, and it's an AI-powered voice conversation. So it's not a form that you got to fill out and type in, or it's not a Google voice-to-text translation type of thing, and it's not a survey. It's a real conversation with an AI voice agent that will walk you through your career, your experience, your knowledge, your unconventional path, whatever that looks like for you. And at the end, you'll get a personalized blueprint document that shows you the top 2 areas where your crystallized intelligence can really have meaningful impact and income, and what your brand voice would actually sound like in the marketplace. That's a fancy way of saying how you would look to other people when you show up in the marketplace with whatever it is that you have to offer. And now, how you actually might show up, it could be consulting or coaching, or maybe it's just another different full-time role with a company. Project work, a fractional COO, CFO, CXO, or building something maybe educational on your own, whether that's digital courses or online lectures or any kind of educational content like that is hot in the marketplace. So this is really for this blueprint extraction AI voice guided conversation is really for guys who are feeling a little disillusioned, directionless, aimless, or just a little confused and uncertain maybe about what their next step should be. We feel called to go in a certain direction, or if that language doesn't work for you, you got a spidey sense that you need to be doing something different than what you're doing right now. And it's all cool. So maybe you're a business owner who's wondering what's next. Maybe you're in a corporate role, it just doesn't fit anymore for whatever reason. Maybe you're in a early retired situation, but you don't quite know what to do next, but you do know that you're not done contributing. So this whole process will give you clarity. So it's coming soon, not quite done yet. It's coming soon at graybeardassessment.com, graybeardassessment.com. The AI voice agent is built. The knowledge base is ready. The reference guide that you use as you go through this conversation, it takes about an hour to complete. We're just finishing up the landing page that it'll be hosted on. So if that sounds like something that really could make a difference for you, keep an eye out. I'll let you know as soon as it's live. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe here to the podcast and go to graybeardradio.com and go ahead and give us your information, and we'll be sure to send out a notification when this graybeardassessment.com page is complete and that product is ready for you to use. We've got more coming, and I just don't want you to miss it. So you're not past your prime. You're at the part where it really starts to get good and wisdom finally counts. Let's use it. Sayonara. Arrivederci. This is Matt Hempel. I'll see you in the next one.